Hooray!
Hey,
Nothing like technical difficulties. Woo!
of course. Always. Wouldn't be a show without it, right?
It would not be Death Scenes and Cemeteries without technical issues. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show, to Death Scenes and Cemeteries. Whoa,
Hello. Ho, ho,
ha,
ho,
ha, ha.
ho.
Uh, excuse me.
That's because we
Uh,
inhaled dinner. Just saying.
I mean, it was Italian, so it's considered rude if you don't belch.
I mean, correct. Correct.
In all actuality, um, I'm sure there's somebody that can verify that for me, but that's what I've always heard. Um,
Yeah, it's like kudos to the chef. That's what I've always been told. So I don't know how. If anybody disagrees, I don't know. That's what I've always been told. I don't know. If you don't, it's kind of like an insult. So,
well, I'll burp
but
all day for them. I, I'm not opposed to giving the burps. Um,
in my classroom, as I tell my kiddos, it's a bodily function. Everybody does it. Cut it out.
you know, yeah, it's still worth a giggle sometimes. So just like a good fart.
Yeah, that I will. Yes, it's good to be that little 5-year-old and laugh at a fart and a giggle. It's good for your soul.
So
That's if you have.
we
I don't.
were enjoying from school. Renee's a teacher, of course, and I am back in college, so I am a student myself, and we're definitely enjoying the fact that there's nothing to do with that for a hot minute.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. Not that I don't love my kiddos, but yeah, it's a well-needed break. So I'm happy.
I understand. I was
I'm a,
giving some shares out here and
yep, I did my shares.
making sure all that's taken care of. Oh, thank you, phone, for saying that you're back online. Um, Useless thing. Um, uh, as you all
It's
can
got a new
see, I am out in my hidey hole here in back of a holler where service does not exist. Um, well, it does. It's just very, very rare. Hi,
one. Hi,
Suzanne.
Suzanne.
Uh,
Anyway,
Susan is
but
up
that's
in
okay. You
your
know what?
area. She's in Massachusetts. Um,
Oh, she is, huh?
yeah, she runs CMPS, Central Massachusetts Paranormal Society.
I'm gonna have to take a look into that.
Yeah. Susan
How
Renee is
about?
just right there in Connecticut, so she's right there close.
Yep. I used to live in Massachusetts, so when I went to college, so I'm very familiar. Let's see, Franklin, Bellingham, Walpole area. So
I came up
quite
to
interesting.
visit long enough to know that I want to wait a while before I come back to visit again. No offense, but
Well, here's the thing. It was an unseasonably warm, hot summer that you came up, so it was a little inferno-ish during that time. So I mean, and you were on a
um,
TikTok tip
to
too.
be fair, at the time, a lot of Canada was on fire, so I won't blame that for the heat. Um, it was Canada's fault. Damn you, Canada! No, I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
Only
I've got
joking.
some awesome friends in Canada. You know, as far as I know, none of them smell like maple syrup.
Or a
What's
jelly
up,
donut.
Jonathan Myers?
Hello.
Jonathan is out of North Carolina, COPS. he has his own show and stuff. It's fun. Um, yeah, just get up there and talk about whatever for the day, and that's a good time sometimes. But
Yeah,
tonight
sometimes
we do.
that's, you know what?
Yeah,
Sometimes you just
starts.
need to do that for your own mental.
I mean, that's kind of why me and Matt Barron did the show the other night that we did. You know,
Yep.
mental health by the mentally disturbed.
Yeah. That I mean, and that honestly, that's a great show title.
I mean, it's still set up here
It
so that we can do it more often if he so chooses and wants to.
Yep.
Um, because it is good therapy to get on there and be like, yeah, I want the crap. By the way, this is really funny. So, um,
So, oh, so anyway, we all know we're winding down our festive collection of December. Is that how we want to label this?
sure, we'll leave it at that. This is
Sure,
our
why
last
not?
time to be festive for the end of the year before we get back to the serial killers. So,
Yeah.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, by we weren't on last week, which was fine, okay, because we were busy. Um, so Christmas ghost stories,
Christmas ghost stories. Um,
which
there
are a
are,
thing.
yeah, there are several countries that still do this to this day that sit around and tell ghost stories
Mhm.
around Christmas time, specifically Christmas Eve or a few days leading up to it. And I think it's an awesome tradition. You
I
know,
agree.
my whole life is a ghost story at this point, either
Isn't every
chasing ghosts, talking to ghosts, or being ghosted. One or the other. You know,
That's why I said as it isn't like it everybody is have has their own ghost story in one way or another. May it be paranormal or it may be physical. I mean, it is a thing. So, um, so to talk about like like the winter months are the time of the year that is often about reflection that can be brought that can bring up ghosts of Christmas past that are both metaphorical and real. Whether they be real apparitions or tall tales, these stories can shape who we are. Sharing ghost stories and memories of lost loved ones can bring us comfort during the long, cold nights, and they have for 1,000 years. Because what did we do? There wasn't TV, there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't phones, there wasn't communication. Long night of the year, winter solstice. What was everybody doing? You were in the house by a fire, and what were you going to do? So you listened to, if you were your great grandfather or your great grandfather, depending upon the time period, telling you these stories that had ghosts in them, or specters, or spirits, depending upon
and being
how
a
they lived.
reflection of especially the Victorian times because it was very popular in Victorian England.
Mm,
Charles Dickens wrote a Christmas Carol,
yes, that's like probably when everybody thinks about Christmas ghost stories. It's probably like one of the first ones everybody thinks of.
if not the very first one everybody thinks of. Is
Yep,
they're like, oh, Christmas ghost stories, Christmas Carol. Yes, yes, an
yep,
example.
it is an example. Um, I thought this was kind of cool. He is actually an author. Um, Jerome K. Drome said, "Whenever 5 or 6 English speaking people meet around a fire during Christmas Eve, they start by telling each other ghost stories. Nothing satisfies us on Christmas Eve but to hear each other tell authentic anecdotes about specters in, let's see, and it is a genial festive season where we love to muse upon graves and dead bodies and murders and blood. The Victorian times were way different. Like that was like a normal thing to be talking about, which is, I mean, that makes me love that time period even more
Yes,
because it's like
indeed.
it seems like they had all that like new, new cutting edge at that time, and they just their belief systems and what was considered norm for them, which now would be like, could you imagine? People would be going, "What are you crazy? You're not going to tell." Like, it was the night before Christmas. Like, that's what you say, like Christmas Eve. Like, you're not talking about, you know, or the Christmas Carol. Like, that's where, like, that would be the line. And you're talking about murder and mayhem with
Absolutely.
specters. I mean,
Um,
to me, that's phenomenal.
there's several examples, especially from the Victorian times. There's the old nurse's story by Elizabeth Gaskell. It came out in 1852. You know,
Yep.
it's a classic Gothic Victorian story, and they discuss ancestral secrets, organ music, and a seriously haunted house. Um,
Yep.
that is the description. Um,
It
Horror,
is.
a True Tale by John Berwick Harwood, 1861 approximately. Um, this it's a slow burner with just enough to make you want to, make you decide, nah, I don't want to hear the rest of this story.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it
Um,
was one of those, it scared them to the point that, the hair turned white overnight, the narrator in the book. So the main character, the narrator and stuff, they had one of those moments to where they got so stressed and stuff, their hair turned white overnight, which is an actual thing, by the way. Um,
yes,
who was it that
absolutely.
happened? That was it Marie Antoinette happened to?
I want to say yes.
There was somebody. Yeah, it was the night before she was executed.
Hmm.
Her hair turned pure white. And I saw Mr. Ottersberg has it shared out. Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you so much. Um, one that caught my interest, and I said, I think I'm gonna go and actually try and find it and read it. It's "Turn the Screw" by Henry James in 1898. The story of an unlucky governess that is seemingly possessed. Let's see, seemingly possessed child in an apparently cursed home may not be seem particularly festive, but James begins and ends the story with its narrator coaxing the reader to sit down a warm fire on Christmas, and not all is a winter tale to be told about Christmas. That sounds interesting.
It sure does.
I mean, you know, and just I mean, just the writings. I mean, I was just looking for possibly because I mean everybody tries to say, oh, it's it originated in the Victorian times. I mean, you the oldest one that I could find was 1589, and that's by Christopher Marlowe's, and that's the tragedy of the rich Jew of Malta. So I mean, and that's the protagonist remembers um, hearing winter tales of spirits and ghosts. So that's like 1589. So I'm sure there's even ones older than that. I'm sure like especially over Norse tales. I'm sure there's Icelandic tales too, because I think there was one like the saga of the people of Floyer, which is like that's the ninth and 10th, 11th century. So um, I mean,
Which
even
also,
Williams.
as actual stories go, there's not as many modern Christmas ghost stories that are written, but we definitely have horror stories that are horror movies that are centered around Christmas time and stuff. There's Krampus movies, there's Black
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, all the ones that portray Santa Claus as a killer. Those are fun. 1926, H.P. Lovecraft released a horror
Mm-hmm.
horrific poem called "The Yule Horror." I
Yep.
actually shared that out on the Raven Hollow Productions page earlier for everybody to read. That one was really cool. Um, I know what kind of person Lovecraft was. There weren't a whole lot of awesome people at that time. I am a big fan of the man's writing, so because he wrote about some stuff that nobody would have ever dreamed of at the time.
Of
And
course.
let's face it, he's one of the leaders for sci-fi and horror from the at the time. So
And I totally utterly agree with you. That would be a hill I would die on to defend that. That's definite. I did find it's called Dark Christmas by Jeanette Witterson, and this is 2013. Found a little write up about it. A woman and her friends go to High Fallen House, a Victorian manor in the countryside to celebrate Christmas. This may sound like an ideal vacation, but things escalate quickly from warm and fuzzy Christmas celebrations to a horror movie level frights when creepy old nativity set is found in the attic. That sounds. I said I gotta see if I can find that one too because that sounds. I mean, it sounds interesting
oh, the
for
Dark Christmas for 2013. Yes.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
let's see here. Where's another fun one? So this one was written in 1868, and it is called "The Ghost Summons" by Ada Olson. Is that correct? Buisson something. Buisson. I'm sure I'm just destroying that last name, and I apologize. And it is about a doctor is hired to witness a man's final hours.
Hmm.
So his literal job is to sit there and attend the deathbed, to sit there with the man until he passes.
It's
I mean, I
interesting.
honestly probably could write something like that, but which side note, I am working on a new story.
Oh, that's.
This one's going to be more of a novella. It is not a Christmas story, but it is very sci-fi thriller-ish,
Hmm.
and it's going to be a lot of fun.
One of the ones that I did find a couple of my I remember hearing about as a kid. Um, I have one. It's called The Legend of the Mistletoe Bride. Um, to me, like I'm like, how has Hollywood not grabbed a hold of this and made this into a movie ever in my lifetime? Um, so it's obviously and it's a story that's a staple in England for like generations. Um, and it's a must have. I think it's a must have on everybody's list because it just has that factor. Um, so in a nutshell, it's Bride. So here we go, Lady in White, which is like the story of all things supernatural. Oh, the Lady in White down the stairs, the bride that you know tragically passed before she could get married or whatever. Um, so there, it's in Bramshill House in Hampshire, England. The They're getting ready for her wedding and they're hanging mistletoe throughout the house. And to occupy their time, they decide to play hide and go seek. And she's hiding from her love, Lord Lovell. So The rules were simple. Lord Lovell's young bride was to hide somewhere, and the groomsman was set out to try and find her. So whoever located her first would be crowned the winner and awarded a playful kiss under the mistletoe, obviously before they got married. So like it was a thing. So what started off as a fun game totally goes sour because they can't find her at all anywhere throughout the house, on the land of the where the house is, everywhere. So Lowell, like Love, is totally brokenhearted and forced to move on. Till 50 years later, when his grandchildren are playing hide and go seek, and they stumble upon a secret closet in the upstairs bedroom where they find a wooden chest sealed with the bride trapped inside.
Oh wow.
Or what? Yeah, I'm like, how was that not like made into a movie
Maybe
somehow? Yeah.
that is
So
a
of
very good
course,
question.
exactly. I said so. She's seen at the Bramhill house, especially around Christmas, because she's calling out for anybody who can find her because she's lost. So I always liked that one, which kind of made me a little leery about playing hide and go seek and being forgotten about.
Especially in houses that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that the doors don't lock behind you. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, important.
or you may be stuck because nobody can hear you.
And no one's gonna hear you scream.
Scream out for me.
Ah, oh, I gotta love it.
If I didn't do one creepy thing per show, then what's the point? I
Exactly. What
really
is?
want to know what's the point if I don't do at least one creepy thing per show, and who knows, you might get more tonight. I'm in kind of a giving mood, so
Another one which kind of ties in, which I really didn't. I don't know. I don't know how I never did know this. So it's the Brown Lady of Raymond Hall. It's that famous post, famous picture of like I'm sure we've all seen at some point in time in our life. Lady in white walking down the
oh yeah.
stairs, from like the 1700s. So I didn't know this, which is kind of weird. Um, so obviously we know that Charles Townsend marries a young woman named Dorothy Walpole. So they live happily together for some time in Raymond Hall. So Townsend soon becomes paranoid that his new wife is being unfaithful and eventually drives him mad with jealousy. And he decides to hide away Dorothy in the hall, telling all her friends and family that she tragically passed away. Dorothy was forced inside the mansion to stay inside, allowed only to wander through its halls not long after she perished, obviously, never having to really left Raymond Hall. So that's ever since her passing, people have witnessed that image of the woman in the tattered brown dress wandering the halls. Um, so one visitor, unaware of Brown Lady's legend, approached the woman in the hall only to look at her with a glow. Look at would only have her to look at him with a glowing face, but where her eyes should have been were empty sockets. Could you imagine that? I mean, I don't know.
No.
I think that would weird some people out, but like, to be in the presence of that would be kind of cool, you know.
I mean,
Um,
I'm always down for a good investigation. Thank you for sharing
and
us out, Matt. What's up, sir?
thank
It's good to
you.
see you hanging out tonight.
Yeah, so I guess I guess they're saying
I,
that
I
she
spoke him
wanders
into
the halls.
existence as I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, yeah, huh? Yeah, so I guess she wanders the passages every Christmas. I never knew that part of that. I knew that was coming. Oh, oh, Lordy, Lord, Lord.
Oh, Matt. I love you, brother. I love you.
Ah, Well, doesn't that
And this
like
is
kind
why
of
we do a show
describe
called
everybody?
Mental Health for the Mentally Disturbed.
I mean, doesn't that kind of describe everybody's ex perfectly at some point? I mean, just
I've
saying.
got
I
a
don't know.
Pinkie Pie too. Holy shit. Mackenzie is Matt's wife. She is the one that I lovingly refer to as Pinkie Pie because, she's my sister and I had to give her a name and drive her nuts with it. Even though her hair's not pink anymore, she's still Pinkie Pie. Hey, Matt, I've accomplished something you have not. Your wife actually watched one of my shows for a second.
Wow.
Oh, well, when it's the two of us and stuff she doesn't watch. Well, with this show she's watching, when it's me and Matt and stuff, she definitely doesn't watch. She's like, no, I'm going to stay away from that shit. And I don't blame her. I love you guys. Right? I almost fell off my chair. Did you lean too far back? Was it that side cock for a fart and then you almost tip over? Um,
You got to be careful with those, man. You never know. You fall, you break a hip, it's all over with, man. With those. Oh, he's in the studio and had to catch himself before he hit the concrete floor. Ouch. Yeah, see?
fair
See?
enough.
Gotta be careful.
Fair enough
Gotta
on
be
both
careful.
of those. She say I hear his voice enough, and he is like, yeah, I don't blame you with the concrete floor. That sucks. You might you
Mm,
might crack concrete with your head. Um, all right, just derailed there for a second, and it's my fault. Um, but yeah,
there's
what's
another one.
some of y'all's favorite Christmas ghost stories?
Yeah. Or movies that, because I was thinking about movies. Uh, if you, I mean, two of them came off to mind, especially after thinking about it. Um, I mean, Polar Express has the specter that rides the Christmas train.
Yeah, he sits on top of the
So,
train and rides along with them.
yeah.
It actually helps the little boy take and find his way back.
Hmm. So, I mean, there's, if we're going to talk about some recent movies like that, I mean, and you could even say Nightmare Before Christmas too. So,
I mean, Zero's an actual ghost in the movie, the little dog.
hmm
The rest of them, not so much. But Zero's definitely. Let's see here. What kind of Christmas ghost stories do we have as far as movies go?
I mean, you could go It's a Wonderful Life because Clarence and his, you can say that too. I mean, there's
Let's see here.
if we want
Top Christmas movie picks about ghosts. I don't agree with one of these because they have Krampus on there, and that is definitely not about ghosts. That is about a
no,
Krampus,
no,
and there's not really any
definitely.
ghosts in that movie.
Mm-mm.
Advent calendar I have not seen, so I don't have any information on that one. Oh yeah, the movie Jack Frost,
Yeah, that is
where
true. Yep,
where the dad dies and then comes back and possesses the um,
that is
snowman.
that is true. Isn't that Michael Keaton?
It sure is.
Yes, okay. I thought so. I remember seeing like it's like one of those movies that I remember seeing it once, maybe twice, and then it was like you tend to forget about.
I
So
mean, it was made quite a while ago, you know,
yeah, it is.
and then
I
there's
mean,
even a darker version of that movie too.
that is true too. That is.
Nothing like some scary people and doing scary things dressed as snowmen.
I mean, why not? Um, I actually broke some books down or stories down into like if you were wanting to put in like a subject. So like Tales of Spectres on a Mission. Obviously, you have Charles Dickens. You've got
Scrooged.
Scrooged. Yeah,
They kill
that's Kelly's. That's like one of his all-time favorites besides Christmas Vacation. But anyway, but that yeah,
I'm
it's
right
been a
there with
while
you.
since that is a really good one. Um,
I've been
I
watching
was
a
when I
Christmas Vacation since November, so I can't say much.
but see like that's the I wish they would go back to showing that one instead of Christmas Story for 24 hours.
I wish they wouldn't show any of them for 24 hours.
That
'Cause
that
that
too.
kills it for people. Um, there's no reason to have one movie on repeat for 24 hours.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's bad enough I was pretty close to it with Fight Club, which is why I still love the movie, but I can't really watch it that often.
Mm.
Eight Crazy
Oh,
Nights.
Eight
Yeah,
Crazy
that one has
Nights.
Ghost in it too,
Mm-hmm.
actually.
Yeah.
It has all the
So I
scares
was
in different stores.
mm. So I was looking at like authors, like you know who really I was shocked about that I didn't even know. H.G. Wells wrote a book or a story, a
Uh,
Christmas
Actually,
story.
that doesn't surprise me.
So it's Pollock and the Poro Man. Just looking at some of the names that I had found. Obviously, we know like Charles Dickens. I mean, he Christmas Tree, Jacob Marley's Ghost, the Goblins Who Stole the Sexton. I mean, there's but like H.G. Wells, that was one. Um, which we already talked about H.P. Lovecraft, and then Sir Arthur Conan Doyle too, The Silver Hatchet. So that I mean, if you wanted to, I guess, breathe life back into a tradition, which is sit around Christmas Eve and tell some stories. There's plenty of stories to pick from.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Um,
No,
Another favorite
24.
Christmas Eve tradition that they have in Iceland actually is Christmas Eve. Everybody gets a new book, and you get to sit around and read that evening. You get to
Hmm.
read your new book and eat chocolate. I mean, how can that be a bad thing unless you're allergic to
No,
chocolate?
exactly. And if you're allergic to chocolate, I'm sorry. But I mean, think about it. You're once again bringing it full circle, bringing it back to Victorian times. What were a lot of what were they doing? They were reading.
Yeah.
What was there to do? Sit by the fire and you were reading. So to have in that time period have all these authors write these nice stories that
We'll find you a
are
coloring
great.
book in that. And a comic book. A comic book might write work because there's very few words. You just get to show off the pictures. Sound good?
Yeah, Kelly, 24 Hours of Die Hard. Bruce Willis said it's not a Christmas movie. So stop that right now. But so, I mean, even, I mean, we want to talk about, I mean, even William Shakespeare. 1623, A Winter's Tale. He mentions a story about spirits and goblins. So, I mean, it's everywhere. There's plenty of material, plenty of source material to go and read. And started a new tradition. Get everybody
I
get
mean,
off their
I'm just gonna
phone.
sit in the right mind because that's how I am. I am reading a book too, but that's not Christmas related. Is it's over there. I know his name. I can't think of it. I'm still holding my plate where I ate dinner before we started the show. Eh, eh, eh. I hope I don't fall. I don't want to pull a mat.
Yeah, I love
Oh,
I do. Oh, hey now, safety,
yeah,
safety.
Ray Bradbury.
That's a you see like just and these
Well, if
and a
it's my
lot of these
favorite
kids today
famous
they don't
books, it's
know,
something
man. They
makes
just
me
don't know
definitely
some of the good
comes.
stuff that's out there.
Yeah. I am glad that that's one passion that you know gave to my children, which is reading.
Mm-hmm. Matt's not wrong. Even the story of the Nativity has a paranormal experience.
It sure does.
I mean, yes,
100%, sir. 100%.
exactly.
But still, who doesn't like a good creepy story around Christmas time? You know, if you want a really creepy story around Christmas time, just take and read the Book of Revelations at 2 o'clock in the morning. That'll do it. Um,
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I was
yeah.
14.
Holy Genesis. But because what happened? It's December 21st. Yule. It's the longest night of the year. It's the darkest period. And it's just what's that time period and time periods before and after. I mean, to be outside in the dark, where you can't see 2 inches in front of you, and you just think of all of the creepy that's out there.
All the creepy things.
Mm-hmm. Or the things that could be there, watching and lurking.
It's watching you.
I see you.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
I mean,
He knows when you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake.
I mean,
And now no
just say.
one is ever going to listen to that song the same way again.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, think about it. Just
In
sitting
other
there
words,
watching you.
Santa Claus is a stalker. Oh, so that's the show. Good night,
Yeah,
I'm joking.
exactly. We've just destroyed Christmas for everybody. No, joke. Um,
This is an 18 plus show. Do not let your children watch this. Um,
exactly. Do not.
oh,
And not only that, I mean, these are the authors that we talked about. I mean, think about some family lores that were never documented, that were just told. Like the great grandpa told his grandkids, and they never, you know what I mean. It was something that maybe they just family lore or family legend or legend of the area, and things that didn't get written down.
I mean, fair enough.
I mean, some of those could have been, who knows,
Yeah,
all those
because some
old
stories never
stories.
got into actual print. There's a lot of them that were just, told down throughout the generations, and a lot of them just kind of faded away into obscurity because eventually somebody stopped, and then
Mm-hmm.
nobody got to hear the stories anymore, so they didn't get passed on, or they're still being passed on. It's just um, nobody's writing them down.
Mm-hmm.
You know. It might be a good idea. Just go ahead and write them down. You
I
always
mean,
feel like somebody's watching you. Thanks for the shameless plug, Mom. Thank you. Um,
hey, that's mom making sure her boys taken care of. That's a good job.
I mean, I appreciate it. I really do.
I
Because
mean,
you never
Raymond
know.
does have some good books. I mean, you should go. What? Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Go ahead, Raymond. Plug it. Shameless plug.
For the Corruption of Pangea, um,
Mm-hmm.
Corruption of Pangea is literally a thriller that is my take on superheroes. None of them really have any specific powers, so they work more like vigilantes. But they all have something unique about them, and they're all fighting for the same cause. So it's an interesting twist to the idea as far as what real people could do as far as being a superhero goes. And
And
Mr.
where
Barron,
can they
that is
get it?
called paranoia, sir. They make meds for that. I'm totally joking, man. You would think after all the joking and stuff we did the other night and stuff, I'd be out. No, I've got all new material.
Oh, never. There's always material for between the two of you guys.
Absolutely. God save the pretzel. God save the pretzel.
And it's not Michael Jackson actually. It's Rockwell that sings. Somebody's watching me. Everybody thinks it's
Somebody's
Michael
watching me. That was
Rockwell.
terrible. I apologize.
That tells you how old I am. The fact that I can remember that. Oh, that could be dangerous.
Don't tempt me.
That would be very dangerous. The three of us. That would be very dangerous. I'm gonna sit here
If
and
we
drink my
didn't
milk.
have 15 minutes left, sir, it would happen. Um, maybe next week. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
You can help us do the show right before the end of the year. Um,
Mm-hmm. Hey, more the craziness, the better. That's what I say.
Absolutely. We could start here, finish up on Peaky Pies on New Year's Eve, and see what chaos we cause after that. You never know.
Yeah. Why not? Shit. Why not? That's what I say. But is there
I mean,
any?
we don't really do it for the ratings anyway. We're just having fun. So it is what it is. And we appreciate everybody that's watching.
Yes,
We
definitely.
probably have more than 4 people watching, but I count right here on the little ticker above my screen here. It says 4 people. Um,
And that's okay, because
we've got 4 people watching. That's somebody. So I'm gonna give
exactly.
my best performance and be the usual jackass that I am. Merry Christmas, everybody.
And that's and everybody. That's an awesome present to have. That kind of Raymond in our life.
Do I have a plan for next year?
Yeah, that's a.
That is a very good question. Yeah, we're going to take it one show at a time like we usually do, and leave people guessing up to the last minute. Um,
Mhm. Yeah, we
that
don't let everybody know our secrets.
it's like picking a random egg out of a pack. That way, they don't know who's next.
Hmm. It can be anybody,
I do the same
big
thing with
or
the deviled eggs. I'll just take and grab one randomly from the middle and stuff. So they're like, "Oh God, we're all going to die," but in what order? You know. And
oh,
it sounds like there's a cat fight in the bathroom. It sounds like a son just went after them. Just kick them all. I'm joking. Where am I? Um,
exactly. Is he or is he not, folks? I don't know. Don't know.
well,
Don't
if animals are dumb enough to fight, they're dumb enough to be disciplined. So, um,
know. Hmm.
now that behavior in the house, don't make me get the cane.
Oh no, the cane. I mean,
Oh
we
yeah,
could.
the
I
cane.
mean, yes, the cane. Ah, the cane. The cane. I mean, we. I mean, you could always put them in a room like the bride, the lady of mistletoe. Oops,
Oops, I forgot
oops!
about you. Um,
I forgot about you. Sorry, sorry that happened. I'm
I mean,
heartbroken that I can't find
there
you.
was me whenever my kids were younger. I was like, I'm just going to stick them all in a room and let them fight to the death, and whoever wins is the one I keep. Um, I mean, it
Oh, so
is
thank.
designed like an axe,
Yeah, it
but
is.
it literally is a cane.
I, I,
It
I
is
mean,
not a normal cane, though.
your kids. That sounds like it's a version of Thunderdome. So it was like, welcome to Thunderdome.
Welcome to Thunderdome. If you win, you live. Um,
E- Exactly. Whoever wins, that's you're my favorite.
yeah, whoever wins, you're my favorite. I'm joking.
No, he loves all his children equally the same.
I do. I do. I just
Okay,
give
so
them all the same amount of a hard time as I do the others. You know,
yep.
that's why they have the same amount of sarcasm that I do. I've trained them well.
See, Obi-Wan Kenobi, there is hope after all.
Use the force, Luke. You
Uh,
know, buddy, I'd tell you a short joke, but go over your head.
Unbelievable. So,
Sounds like they're still
also,
after the cats. Get them. Get
oh,
them.
also too, um, I don't know if BBC America does it still, but I know. I mean, this is back when I was a kid. Used to have be able to have BBC, then you had BBC America, um, because it just came to my memory bank. Christopher Lee used to do like during Christmas. It was like short stories on BBC.
He sure did.
So I wish I don't know. So
Well,
I don't know if BBC still does
early.
anything like that, but I mean that would be. Then again, Christopher Lee narrating anything is chef stuff, chef kiss anyway.
Let's use the Saruman voice.
Of course. So I mean, there's if not, I'm sure somebody has it out. I'm sure it's like somewhere on YouTube.
I'm
I'm
sure it
positive.
is. Just about
I'm sure.
everything is.
Yeah. So.
Just like whatever happens in happens in DC stays on YouTube. Um,
Oh, lordy lord. But even after you're watching the replay, put in the comments what's your favorite Christmas story, ghost story, um,
Christmas
Christmas
movie,
movie that has both.
or
Yeah,
even just your favorite Christmas movie. That way we get to know a
exactly.
little bit more about you all, and you
Mhm.
can tell us what you like and what you don't like, and you know, or you can tell us to bugger off. Either way.
Exactly.
However, if
I mean,
you're like, oh, well, let's just bugger off, and I'll say, well, this is my show, so fuck off yourself. Um,
I
why?
I will say like my like, to quote Michelle Barone today of Moshe Grace when she had um her Christmas ranking show. I mean, my goat of all goats is Emmett Otter's Christmas. I just I absolutely love that. It's 48 minutes and it seems like it's on forever, but I love that show. I remember that every Christmas
Don't forget
to the
Frosty
point.
the Snowman. Happy
Oh yeah.
birthday!
I mean, well, all those ones that were like, is it the Rankin and,
Stop
oh my god,
action.
yeah, like
Yeah.
all the stop action ones. I mean, those are all classics too. Muppets Christmas Carol, of course,
Yes. Michael
absolutely.
Michael Caine in that movie is phenomenal because they're like, just cut loose, have a lot of fun with it and stuff. He was like, I'm going to take and be the most serious actor in this entire film, and he pretended that there were no Muppets in that movie at all, and his you know portrayal of Scrooge in that was just top notch.
Definitely. You know, if anybody comes back and tries to say the Star Wars Christmas special, absolutely not. Do not even come with that in the comments. I will block you and get rid of you. Because absolutely not. Oh, that
Not
thing was
that a Star
horrible.
Wars Christmas.
Uh, that Star Wars Christmas special was. Which is your best? Oh, your best Scrooge remake? Oh. Mm,
That's pretty tough because Michael Caine was definitely top notch.
mm.
Um, didn't Sir Patrick Stewart play Scrooge at one point?
Was that the was didn't they have that for like a TV, like a mini series? I
Yes.
thought they I Yeah, I think so. I think he did, and I think he was. I vaguely remember that. That was a big thing because of who he is, and he's Scrooge. Like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, he is British too, so he grew up with Christmas Carol. Um,
I mean, that's just. I mean,
a fun animated one was definitely Jim Carrey because he played just about every role in that movie.
mm,
It was like Tom Hanks in Polar Express. Let's just hire one actor who can do every part. Um,
exactly. I mean, you had. I mean, the Scrooge from 1970. I mean, Albert Finney was Ebenezer Scrooge. I mean, that's just another, like, with Michael Caine. Like, you could see why they casted certain people for Scrooge. I mean, and that story is such a timeless story that, I mean, no matter how many remakes that gets, I mean, it's just a phenomenal written. It's a very well written story. I mean,
Yeah.
George. And there
Oh,
was George C. Scott too. He played the Christmas Carol.
Hollywood still needs to come up with some new ideas. So
Yeah, that I will. I agree.
instead of rehashing old ideas over and over again, you really did not like the one with Bill Murray. I mean, to each their own. You know,
Yeah.
their versions of movies and stuff that I don't like compared to others.
Mm-hmm. That's like also with the Grinch too. There's the Jim Carrey Grinch. There's the original 1968, I think, cartoon one. Then there was the one that they recently was that DreamWorks did it. I think.
Yeah, that
I
was
can't
released
remember.
with Pharrell doing the voiceover.
Yeah. So.
It had Benedict Cumberbatch playing the voice of the Grinch.
Mm-hmm. I mean, another one from my childhood, and you can go watch it on Tubi. I mean, that's the. I mean, Santa Claus the movie. I mean, that came out in 1985. I remember going to the movies to see that. That had Dudley Moore in it. That was
I,
such a
I
good
remember
movie.
that.
I mean, that's just. I mean, because that you had John Lithgow in it too, always playing, the asshole bad guy somehow. always, always casted as that.
Well, sometimes you just have to be.
I mean, hey, if it fits and you can play it, then by God,
If you're good at the role, take it.
exactly, then you can do it. So, but
Well, I think we are officially running out of things to say about Christmas ghosts. Um,
yes.
Unless you experience your own this Christmas, you never know. If you do, try to catch it on film or a
Hmm.
voice recording or something. Because actually, it sounds like a pretty cool idea to take and investigate on Christmas.
I
Maybe it's just
mean,
me, Matt.
I mean,
There
there.
are ideas.
I mean, there is one more story that has to deal with Anne Boleyn and her family home, and she's seen every Christmas, but nobody ever catches her. But because Christmas was her favorite holiday, so Anne Boleyn, which we all know is like King Henry VIII's one of his wives. So, and her house is haunted. Obviously, she's walking the grounds, but she comes out at Christmas. I don't know how true
Yep.
it is. That's what they say. That would be something. That is a bucket list place anyway for me, but that's somebody that comes out on Christmas. So.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of them that do
Hmm.
because once again, Yule and stuff it brings the veil even thinner, which the veil's thin anyway, which is why it's called a veil and not a fucking wall. Um,
I will scale the wall.
I will scale the wall.
I will scale the wall so they see me.
I will
I will make
scale
my
the wall.
presence
Who
known.
hurt you? Wahaha.
Ha
Um,
ha ha.
uh,
Mm.
but yeah, that feels like a good place to leave this.
Actually, I could leave it with this because I did think of something which I was pretty. I have to. So, as the famous Christmas carol, Most Wonderful Time of the Year states, there'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of glories. So happy holidays and happy storytelling.
Ho ho ho. Um,
Ho ho.
so on that note, thank you all for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us as I act like a lunatic like always. Um, thank you all.
And
Have a
I'm
good
along for
Christmas.
the ride.
Happy holidays.
Yes.
Everybody who takes and celebrates whichever holiday you celebrate, because there's a dozen of them that happen at this
Exactly.
time of year. And as always, thank you for watching Destinies and Cemeteries. We will see you right before the beginning of the new year, and we'll cause more mayhem. It's hard to say what we'll come up with for basically New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve. Um, it's Christmas Eve! Yeah! Um,
GB, that is a thing.
it sure is. But as always, thank you for watching Destinies and Cemeteries. Good night.
Night.